Welcome to Garnet Valley, Pennsylvania, a town 30 minutes outside of Philadelphia, objectively unremarkable in itself, and with few exciting activities for entertainment, unless driving to Wawa is particularly invigorating. I always describe Garnet Valley as precisely the type of town one would imagine raising their kids in, and it is home to a collection of memories that have filled my 18 years with camaraderie, laughter, and unconditional love. Welcome to my home, which is incredibly remarkable to me. It was never a dull moment in my neighborhood, growing up on a street filled with children, especially with my best friend 5 doors down. Summer nights were spent playing hide and seek amongst the streetlights, or venturing into the woods behind the houses to dip our feet into the creek. As I grew up, outdoor adventures turned into late Friday night rendezvous for milkshakes, study dates at my favorite coffee shop, Brouhaha, and impromptu karaoke sessions in the car. Garnet Valley was defined by a kaleidoscope of memories, of firsts and lasts, and of pure unbridled joy, but also heartaches. I broke my arm on the monkey bars in the first grade, spoke at my high school graduation, had my first heartbreak, and learned to play the violin. I met my twin flame, discovered I am actually not terrible at pottery, cried when the governor cut my senior year short, and excitedly shopped for dorm room decor. I easily recognized the simple moments that brought me great happiness, and have always treasured them. Family dinners with my mother's home-cooked Filipino dishes, cuddle puddles and movie nights with my girlfriends, and of course, drives to Wawa to satisfy hoagie cravings. I knew my place in the valley, and I belonged so naturally within it. Though immensely grateful for my childhood and home, I was ready to experience life beyond Garnet Valley. At least, I thought so. I was prepared for the heartbreak and homesickness of saying goodbye to my world of familiarity, and I was prepared to have a different freshman experience given the circumstances of the pandemic. I was not prepared for such feelings to linger. At first, the homesickness was concealed by the excitement of being in a new environment. Even with the distractions it presented, I found myself doubting my ability to adjust. For university, where I am surrounded by tens of thousands of other students, it was ironic how lonesome I felt. I yearned to turn a corner and bump into a familiar face, but instead was greeted with masked faces, impeding the personability I imagined. I hoped to soon learn to navigate the campus as effortlessly as I knew the roads of Garnet Valley, but quickly found myself lost and daunted by unknown terrain. Most of all, I despised the uncertainty of it. I loathed the conditions that had reduced an experience I had anticipated all my life into something nearly entirely virtual. The very thought of home, with my family, my friends, and the certainty of where I belong, makes my eyes burn with tears. When I lay awake at night, my mind tumultuous with nostalgic memories, I find myself hoping to be home again. I know deep down that I am not the only student that feels this way, although it seems like it. But if others feel this way too, they appear to do a great job of concealing it. I wish it was easier to transition, but it is difficult to fully say goodbye when I have to experience college life at a distance of 6 feet. If I said I didn't contemplate going home often, I would be lying. But the deep ache of homesickness begins to subside and is replaced with novel acceptance. I begin to notice moments worth staying in state college for. I find myself admiring the flowers that adorn the farmer's market on Tuesday afternoons, and soon I return to pick out a bouquet for myself. I slip into a routine, and from my study spot, tucked away in the Huck Life Sciences building, I find myself falling in love with the view of Mount Nittany against the sky streaked with sunset. I find myself feeling a little less lonely as I notice the way that strangers' eyes crinkle, and I am certain that they are smiling at me from beneath their mask. And in my heart, I know that a fondness for these simple happinesses starts to bloom. It will grow on me. Maybe I will learn to love it here too. I am convinced that I will in time. But it's also in the quiet moments that I feel the soft breath of home whispering to me from miles away. So faint and delicate, I'm afraid I may not hear it if I do not listen carefully. But nonetheless, there it is. The familiar chirp of crickets lulling me to sleep. The upright piano in the lounge downstairs, where I occasionally hear the melodic voice of Chopin, reminiscent of mornings when my father would play from the living room. The crowds that argue vehemently against sheets, bonded by loyalty to Wawa. Garnet Valley is my home. It always will be. However, as I recognize the pieces of home here in State College, it makes it easier to stay. I collect these familiarities, noticing them as they appear and holding on to them for comfort. I did not leave Garnet Valley behind. Instead, I continued to carry it and its beautiful memories with me. And one day, when I am older, I know that I will look back on the collection of moments where I have fallen in love with Penn State with great sentiment. And I am certain that State College will be my home eventually too.